Hey folks, it is a Thursday. I am happy to be here. We're going to do some game design tonight. We've been converting the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 24 Unearthed Arcana UA Psion subclass playtest. We've been converting it into the color mana system that we've already published on the DMsGuild. There's links to the stuff down below. I'll show you that, guys, in a second. But right now, I just want to check in on my signal to make sure that I'm coming through clearly. I got a couple social media posts that I need to do. Since we are live streaming, there's like the notification thing that happens for that streaming. So give me a second while I get that sorted out here, and I'll try to keep you guys entertained with my origin story while I go through that process. But if you're in the future catching this after we've streamed, then you're welcome to skip ahead a minute. But if you're trapped here and now with me in time space, then I'll say, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online, and I've been creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition since 2018, publishing on the DMsGuild. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018. What inspired me to do so, for those that aren't already familiar with my origins, when they published the Ravnica Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, a lot of us MTG D&D enthusiasts thought we would see cool stuff about D&D incorporating the color mana magic system from Magic the Gathering, white, blue, black, red, green mana. And 1 second. Yeah, okay, that looks good. And last ping. Let's see if that came through. Okay, cool. Everything came through. Yeah, but they didn't. The 5e philosophy is to take ideas and boil them down to the core rules. It's like introducing an entirely new magic system based on the 5 colors is a lot heavier lift, more playtesting, and too niche of an audience for wizards to want to cross streams like that. So that means it's left up to somebody like us that are hobby passion enthusiasts to create odd stuff. So I created the color mana system. It's a modified spell point system that dedicates points in your mana pool to a specific color, and then each spell is devoted to one or more colors. So if you have the color of mana in your pool, you can cast a spell of that color. So you have to choose your colors wisely and coordinate the color in your mana, pool to coordinate with the spells that you cast. And the spells have their own native colors, sometimes multiple colors, so you've got a lot of variety. But you can also research spells during downtime to be any color that you want. And when you're preparing spells, you can sacrifice learning a spell so you can change a different spell to any color that you want. And whenever you finish a short or a long rest, you can change the color of each point in your mana pool to whatever you want. So if you're going to say cast a fireball, which is a 3rd level red spell, you would have to spend 3 mana. 1 point has to be red, and the other 2 can be whatever you want. If you're a mono caster, then all your spells are red, then it doesn't matter. If you have 2 colors, like red, black, like your Rakdos, then you would decide how much of your mana pool is red and how much is black, and the spells that you cast will need to be either red or black or both, so that you can spend your points between the 2. If I run out of red mana, I can't cast any more red spells until I get more red mana into my pool by either finishing a long rest, regaining mana on a short rest, or if I take a short rest and I don't get any mana back, I can just change what colors they are anyway. So you could have a wide variety of colors of magic, kind of like how I can have a wide variety of conjuration, necromancy, enchantment spells using the 8 School of Ancient magic system, but there's no penalties for diversifying that in the normal 5e system. But spellcasting is super powerful. So to take to knock spellcasters down a few pegs so that the marshals are on pace with them, back in the old days of earlier editions, 3rd edition and earlier, when you had a spell slot, you had to choose what spell filled that slot when you prepared your spells. So if you decided that you're going to prepare 3 fireballs today, but you don't need to throw 3 fireballs, you've just basically wasted a spell slot for the day. Color mana is kind of like that. You can just prepare your spells like you normally would in D&D 5e. You just have your list of spells. But the preparation comes into how much of my mana pool am I going to devote to each color. And if you're being narratively inclined, like in Ravnica, all characters are 2 colors only, which is like, say, Rakdos, red and black only. So the spells that class, that guild naturally leans towards are spells that are just intuitively black and red magic. So you could tell a powerful caster because they would have like white spells or blue spells or green spells, and they'd be casting them as black or red spells because they either spent the downtime to learn them to be the color that they want through research, or they're sacrificing spells, prepared spells, so that they can have a small list of spells that they want, any color they want. Bonus spells that you get from your subclass, they're whatever color you want. So they're your bonus spells. You can always cast them. So it doesn't matter what color it is. And if you wanted to use a softer, more generous magic system, you don't have to encode each point of magic, each point of mana to a specific color, but you could, like, say, limit yourself. So like your mana pool will work for anything, but since I'm Rakdos, I'm only learning black and red spells, or I'm cheating them into my spell list somehow. And then you can be super soft with your magic system, where you have all the spells that you would normally have to prep from, and you can use your mana to spend any of them like you want to, just like 5th edition says, but you just narrate them. So it's like I cast Bless, but I cast it as a black spell. So I describe it using black magic. However it is that my character casts black magic narratively, like wisps of black energy rises off of my target, or however it is I want to narrate it. There would be no mechanical depth to it beyond I cast this spell, and since I'm Rakdos, it has like a black-red effect sort of to it. But then we have these more harsh degrees of restriction, depending on what kind of a game you want to play. So it's a fun idea, and I'm going through the effort of updating all the rules in all the books to 2024. So let me go ahead and just stop talking here and get to work. But just to cap off the conversation for the day, here's a bunch of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have 100% free preview. Check them out. If you like the cut of my jib, consider making a purchase to support similar behavior in the future. Here's the color magic system, and again, all these books are free preview, and all these are bundled together for a 33% discount. Obviously, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of material here for you guys to kick through. So this is the core mechanics book. It's 75 pages. Gold medal status. Thanks a lot for the high ratings, folks. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And as you can see here, all 75 pages are visible. It goes, using 2014 rules, it goes through rudimentary magic casting mechanics. It had our early stages of defining magic and how each spell is categorized in each color, but we've improved that since then, so I need to publish a new book with the improved rules. And then it goes into how each subclass can be modified to utilize the magic system. And it's pretty minimal, as you can see. It's pretty minimal. And then we have, if we step back for a second and look at the revised color and mana spell list, here it's pay what you want. This costs literally nothing if you don't want to pay for it. If you click into it, it explains the 5 colors, what those colors are in game terms, like what those colors kind of represent, what types of damage each color represents. And so if you combine the aspects of descriptive magic and the damage types that it does, you come up to the color matrix here. So like, again, if we say scroll down to Fireball at the 3rd level spell, there you go. As you can see here, it's red. It's 3 points of mana. It's a red spell to throw it. Daylight, for example, is white and green. Green because nature, sunlight, that jives. And white is generally like radiance and light. So as opposed to like just like the sun, which is like a greenish idea, and white, which is like a radiant energy or brightness and light, revealing. That's a very white idea as well. So the daylight spell, it's 3 mana, and you could spend either a point of white or a point of green, and the rest of the mana could be whatever you want. So like a Golgari character that's black green could cast daylight. You might feel it's off theme for Golgari black green to cast white green because they're kind of opposed. They're like two sides of the same coin. But you could do it if you wanted to. That's the flexibility in the system. Since a Golgari naturally has green mana in their pool, they could do that. Just like a Rakdos character could cast Moonlight. So, anyway. Yeah, so that's the spell stuff. It's pretty fun. Otherwise, thanks a lot. New subscribers today. Really appreciate it. I'm here 9 times per week. In the mornings, I do artwork. Afternoons and evenings, I do game design like this. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. We're converting the Psion playtest. So if you click this link here, it'll take you to the Unearthed Arcana playlist or the Unearthed Arcana PDF. Here you go. And if you want to read along, the playtest doc that we've been using to convert everything to 2024 is right here. It's a Google Doc, so it's available for you guys online. It'll be read-only for you. But you'll also be able to read it on the DMsGuild when it publishes. So it's not like you're really losing anything there. Let me pop this open because I think I have. Yeah, here we have we have the Psion already built out. So anyway, we're gonna get to work here for a couple hours. Give me a second here to arrange my windows properly, and get this fixed here real fast. And then here we are with our monitor, and right, okay. So how does the spell point system work? Well, you have mana. You start with 2 spells at first level, so that's 2 mana, and then you'll end up with 80 mana at 20th level. The Psion has energy dice. When you do certain class features or like disciplines or whatever, you can, while you're spending mana, spending that mana may allow you to roll 1 or more dice. And then you roll the die, and it modifies either like a d20 test or damage, for instance. Over here, you can see we have max energy. This is the maximum amount of mana you can put into energy dice whenever you have the opportunity to roll them, or the maximum amount of mana that you can use for disciplines and subclass features. So at first level, it's 1, and then it's 2 at 5th, 3 at 9th, 4 at 13th, and 5 at 17th is a half casting progression. This is the same half casting progression that you see with the Sorcerer's Meta Magic. So we already know in the UA, using the Vancian system, that the Psion is basically an intelligence-based blend between Bard and Sorcerer. You get this Bardic Inspiration die that generally you only spend on yourself. And but those disciplines that you would spend the energy dice on are like meta magic for a sorcerer. They either modify a spell that you're casting, or they give you the ability to do something as an action or something. So in that sense, that it's like a bard. When a bard spends inspiration dice, they can generally do something or ramp a d20 test, either most of the time for your allies, but sometimes for yourself, while the Psion is almost always for yourself and rarely for your allies. So it's inverted that way. It actually fills in a niche, an empty niche in the ecology of the D&D 5e class environment. We now have, if the Psion comes through, we would then have a full caster that's an intelligence full caster, but utilizes a side resource like the Bard and the Sorcerer does. This puts us at 14 classes in total, and what they still need is a Gishy half caster type character that would fit inside the monk and warlock space. With that temporary mana, being able to cast up to 5th level spells, but not 6th level or higher on a half casting progression, with a long rest, so like basically 40 mana at 20th level, 2 at 1st level, and then gaining 2 every level until 40 at 5th level, at 20th level, casting 5th level spells that cost 5 mana apiece. I think there's a space inside there for them. The Artificer and Paladin and Ranger make up this triad of long rest half casters. So I think if they were to have a 15th, it would be a half casting short rest sort of mechanic, like the Warlock, but more martial based, kind of like a monk, somewhere in between there, I think. But I'm not sure exactly what that would be. Maybe like I don't know, like an actual Gish, like the Paladin, but arcane focused. Who knows? I don't know. It would be something, but I don't know what that class would be. But that would realistically be the 15th and probably sensibly the last one that they would create. I'm sure they see this themselves. They do this stuff for a living. I'm just a passionate hobbyist. So if I can see it, I'm assuming that they can see it as well, because they haven't hired me yet, which means despite my applications, they've got people that are better at building 5e than me, I guess. So I'm assuming anything that I notice about this system, they've also noticed and have plans towards. Though, you have to question what they'll actually take action on. Like I said, they've never done a mana system because there's not enough marketability in having a color magic system for D&D 5e, because they haven't found enough crossover audience to, like, I think Theros was profitable. I'm pretty sure Strixhaven was profitable. Ravnica we know was profitable, but it didn't smash it out of the park. It's not like a Xanathar's Guide. It wasn't huge. So I don't think they're highly incentivized to make a color mana system for the D&D game engine, which is fine by me because I love making this stuff. So let's see. So we have the energy, the max energy. This is how much mana you cast your spell, and then on top of it, you can pump energy. Or if you take a discipline that allows you to spend mana to ramp a d20 test or something, this tells you, the max energy tells you how much of that mana can you put in at a time. So that's actually where we left off. So let's kick on down. Here we go. Continue here. Thursday, 6:05. That's us. That's now. So we're here. So you can take a look at how these things work. Biofeedback. When you cast a Scion spell, we're not worrying about what school of magic it came from, because we replaced the schools of magic with color, and we don't have a specific color theme for the Scions specifically, though they would naturally fit inside the white, black, blue space, like Dimir and Azorius and Orzhov kind of fit in that space more than anybody else does. So white, black, blue, or primarily white, and white, black, and blue. That makes the most sense. Dimir are mind readers, and they steal your memories and your thoughts. And Azorius has mind police. They don't steal your thoughts, but they record that you have them. So they both operate inside this telepathic mental space. So it's white, blue, and black are the core colors for what the Scion would be. So you could have a metamorph that's like green or red focused instead if you wanted to. That'd be perfectly fine as well. But all the telepathy stuff, that's the purview of white, black, and blue. So looking at how this works, biofeedback. When you cast a Scion spell, you can expend 1 mana to roll an energy die, adding your casting stat to the level of spell cast to the result, gain this many temporary hit points. When you cast a Scion spell, you can expend 1 mana to roll an energy die, adding your casting stat and the level of the spell cast to the result. Gain this many temporary hit points. You know what? Honestly, let's take a quick detour here and let's type in arcane. D&D Beyond. It's called, what is it? Arcane Recover? No. Arcane. Shit. There's a new spell, and I can't remember the name of it offhand, and I don't remember what level it is either. So give me a second. I want to look it up. It's called Arcane Replenishment, Arcane Refreshment, Arcane Recovery. No, Arcane Recovery is the class feature. I don't remember what it's called. Hold on, we'll find it. It's in here. We'll find it. Arcane Vigor. There we go. Arcane Vigor, 2nd level spell. You tap into your life force to heal yourself. Roll 1 or 2 of your unexpended hit dice and regain a number of hit points equal to the roll total plus a spellcasting ability modifier. Those dice are then expended. So you spend 2 mana to roll 1 or 2 of your unexpended hit dice. Okay, that's not bad. And then the number of expended hit dice you can roll increases by 1 for each spell slot above 2. So 3 at 3rd, 9 at 9th. Okay, so and that is okay. That's just flat out. That's healing with a limit. Let's instead go to. Yeah, I was gonna say we could decouple biofeedback from a spell and just make it a bonus action for you to use it to gain temporary hit points independently of having to cast a spell while you do it. But for now, I'm going to leave it like it is. We'll see how they end up changing it. They may decide to go in a direct. If this gets through the first wave of playtesting, this may get to a place where they decouple using the energy dice from casting spells to be able to use them more independently. Destructive Thoughts. When a creature succeeds a saving throw against a Scion spell that you cast, you can expend 1 mana to roll an energy die, adding your casting stat bonus and the level of spell cast to the result. Deal this much psychic damage to the target. That's fun. Punishing you for succeeding your saving throws is a really cool mechanic. I like it. Devilish Ton. When you take the influence action, you can expend mana up to your max energy limit. So like at 5th level, you could spend 2 mana to roll an equal number of dice, which would be 2 at 5th level, and then you add the highest result to the ability check. So it's not so when you're doing D20 tests, you aren't just adding a bunch of dice and adding them all up and ramping your abilities, ramping your D20, because that's going to blow out the bounded accuracy of 10 to 30. It's just going to knock it out of the park. So instead, you spend mana to increase the odds of rolling high on your die. And when you sport 80 mana at 20th level, you can afford to throw a bunch of dice into succeeding when you need to. If it'd be great if you succeeded, but it's not the world if you don't, then maybe you only put 1 mana in right now because you want to use your mana for something else. But you have that option. And as your character ramps up by 17th level, you can put a total of 5 mana into it. There you go. So, let's see. So that language exists in most of the D20 tests that we do. You spend multiple mana to have the opportunity when rolling multiple dice to get a high result that you'll keep, and then the rest of it's scrapped. Epic Whip. When a creature triggers, and I wouldn't be able to do this if we only had like 4 energy dice plus 2 every 4 levels, like 12 at most at 17th level. Hey, Steve. And only 4 at 1st level and 12 at 17th. We wouldn't be able to do things like this because you don't get enough energy dice to fuck around like this. They have to be really tight and efficient with how you use your dice. But with a pool of 80 mana at 20th level, you can throw that shit around all day. It's cool. In fact, you want to give characters reasons to burn through their mana pool, because exhausting their mana is to casters is as important as running out of hit points. It's in a lot of cases, especially with the cleric, it's the same thing. So you value these things differently. So we can scale them and it's not baiting, but it's rewarding you for taking the risk of spending more mana to get a higher die result, to be more successful in the D20 tests that you want to succeed at when you need to. So, and it doesn't even require an action to do it. It's just when you're doing the thing, you spend the mana, you do the dice. So you could do this multiple times. If there were an opportunity, Devilish Tongue, it's the influence action, so generally that's going to eat your action. But in a conversation, if your DM slides out of initiative and you're just having a conversation, like you're just doing a social encounter at the fair or whatever, at any time a player can say, hey, I'm going to dump 3 mana on this and ramp up that D20 test. It's not like you're bound to the number of times that you do this. So this would be super useful in like when you're negotiating or anytime when you're in a social circumstance where there could be like deception or anything like that. It's fun. It's really, really fun. Eagle Whip. When a creature triggers an opportunity attack, you can expend mana up to your maximum energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice, dealing psychic damage equal to the result of the die roll plus casting stat. We talked about this last time. This is basically the Warcaster feat, where you would be able to cast a single target damage spell like Disintegrate. Disintegrate would cost 6 mana, and it deals 6d10 plus 40 as a 6th level spell. And you can do that at 11th level. By the time we get to 17th level, Eagle Whip will let us spend 5 mana to roll 5 12-sided dice, add those up to get anywhere from 1 to 60 damage, plus your casting stat, which would be a plus 5, right? So it's far less powerful than, say, Disintegrate, but you only do Disintegrate once because it's a 6th level spell. Expanded Awareness. When you take this, again, another action. So when you take the search action, you can expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of dice, adding the highest result. Insinuation. When you cast a Scion spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw. And again, this isn't actually requiring any actions or reactions to trigger this. It just does. So when you cast a Scion spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw, you can expend an energy die and roll it, subtracting the result from the save. Oh yeah, this is where we left off, isn't it? Yeah, this is literally where we left off. So we haven't updated the language yet. So we're just going to take this and we're going to go. You can expend mana up to adding the highest result to your roll. So you can really make sure that you're shutting down somebody's roll. You can expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice. Subtracting the result. Subtracting the highest result from the saving throw. There you go. Easy peasy. And we'll be doing this today for all the subclasses. There's only 4 subclasses, but we'll be doing the same treatment to the 4 subclasses, ramping them using your mana. A lot like the Bard's a great example. A Bard can get a point of Bardic Inspiration back for 2 mana. They get 80 mana at 20th level. So if you want to play like a Bard that doesn't cast spells, if that's the kind of player you are, like take like the College of Valor, and then spend all of your mana pool on just Bardic Inspiration dice, because you can spend 2 points of mana to get a Bardic Inspiration die, and you can do it on the fly. Like when you want to roll a Bardic Inspiration, you die and you don't have one, spend 2 mana, and it's as though you do have one. Go ahead and spend it. So you can literally spend your entire mana pool on nothing but Bardic Inspiration. So if you don't want to be a spellcaster, you describe the way that you're using the resources. If you're just cracking jokes and you are just the heart of the team, constantly building up people's abilities. Everyone is just better around you. Or you could play like like a Paladin Bard, do a blend, since you don't care about the spell slots, because you're going to dump all your mana into it anyway. Then just dip into Paladin so that you can grab up like the charisma bonus aura, so you can help protect your allies better, and have that mana that you could then spend on smites so that you can do more damage with your Bard of Valor sort of stuff. Take like 7 levels of Paladin and 13 levels of Bard. You would end up with 14 mana from the Paladin on a long rest. And at 13th level as a Bard, it uses the same progression table. So a Bard would have 48 mana. So 7 plus 48, that'd be 55. So you'd have, as a 20th level Paladin 7, Bard 13, you would have 55 mana. And you could spend 2 points apiece on every Bardic Inspiration die roll that you spend. So you'd have 27 Bardic Inspiration die and a point left over. Or you could dump all that stuff into Divine Spellcasting, into Divine Smites. And using this system, that would mean that you could put up to 2 mana. At 7th level, you could put up to 2 mana into added damage on your smite rolls. And then you'd be able to get the 13 level bonus off of the Bard College of Valor. So those are the ideas. Fun multi-classing, make it work together. So anyway, Inerrant aim from the saving throw. When you cast a silence spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw, you can expend an energy die and roll it. One target of the spell you can see subtracts the number rolled from the first. Wait a second. When you cast, isn't this the same fucking thing? Oh, inerrant aim. I have the wrong thing for inerrant aim. Well, good thing we kept this open. Let's go take a look at it real quick. I had not realized I grabbed the wrong Beely. That's great. Let's go fetch. Where is it? Give me it. Dime. There. And paste. When you make an attack roll against a creature and miss, you can roll one sonic energy die and add the number rolled to the attack roll, potentially turning the miss into a hit. If this causes the attack to hit, the die is expended. Well, since we're using mana as a resource, you can always afford to spend your mana, so we let you ramp. Let's see. When you make an attack roll against a creature and miss, yeah. You can roll. You can expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the attack roll. Potentially turning the miss into a hit. If this causes the attack to hit, we remove that part. Sonic's Backlash. When a creature you can see hits you with an attack roll. Oh, fine. Go away. You can take a reaction to reduce the damage by an amount equal to the result of an energy die plus your casting stat bonus plus maximum spell level you can cast as a Scion. You can use a reaction to reduce the damage by an amount equal to the result of an energy die plus your casting stat bonus plus maximum spell level you can cast as a Scion. That's the monk reaction. And the reaction from the monk to deflect and reduce damage does not cost any key or focus points. So we're not going to charge it here either. I think the telekinetic down below can crack one back, can fire back at somebody else. And when we get there, we will spend mana to do that. So this is fine as it is. Sonic Guard. At the start of your turn, you can expend an energy die to become immune to the charmed and frightened condition until the end of your next turn. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws until the start of your next turn. Yep. At the start of your turn, you can expend one mana to become immune to the charmed and frightened condition until the end of your next turn. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws until the start of your next turn. See, that's really good. But we have a max limit of 1. It's very strong. That would normally be something that we wouldn't give people access to until 5th level, and it would be 2 points of mana to. Well, it's just advantage. That's not so bad. But normally you get advantage per roll on a point of mana. Let's see. At the start of your turn. Till the end of your turn. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws. It's just advantage. until the start of your next turn. See, they can. That's a generous feature because of how much of how few energy dice that you get. So it needs to get a lot of value out of that energy die. You get 12 again. You'll get 12 of them by 17th level. So you can effectively do this 12 times per day, and then you get those dice back on short rest. So like 18 times per day. I would say until they have advantage in saving throws until the start of your next turn, I would say that would be worth 2 mana. But I like the idea of each of these disciplines being only 1 mana each, so you can use any of them right away at first level. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws until the start of your next turn. God, that's really generous. Like, why wouldn't you take a level dip to grab this that way? It's too good. In addition, oh, there you go. In addition, you can expend 1 additional mana to have advantage. So I'd spend 1 to get the charm condition. In addition, as a kicker effect, you can expend 1 additional mana to have advantage on saving throws until the start of your next turn. So that's a kicker costs is introduced earlier in the book, where when you're using power, like when you have a power that you want it to be a certain level, but you want it to do a lot of stuff, you break it down incrementally into individual components that you can spend as separate optional like buy-ins. So you don't have, it's not like I'm doing this thing that deals this, like this fireball requires 3 mana because I'm doing 8d6 damage with it, as opposed to Burning Hands is only 1 because I'm going to be doing like 2d8 damage with it. So, but like theoretically, you could have Magic Missile as a spell. You cast Magic Missile and you fire 1, and for every additional point of mana that you put into it, you can throw additional darts at people and not necessarily raise the level of the spell while you do it. Like, that's a way you could do that. So it's available at first level, and you could ramp by just spending more and more mana, just fire off a bunch of them. But then that would potentially be broken at first level. Well, I mean, at first level, you only have 2 mana anyway, so I mean, it's not like it's that bad. Anyway, like, that's a way you could, like, if we had a mana first system in 5e, you could design spells that way to have like incremental, like the Mystic was back in the 2007 playtest. Like, I should go back and look at the Mystic and see what it would be like to translate that into spell points. That might actually be a lot of fun to do that. Maybe I'll do that. We'll check it out. Anyway, so yeah, we got Psionic Guard figured out. Happy about that. When you cast a Scion spell, so yeah, so you get the drop the charm for a round for 1 point, and then you have to pay an additional point on top of it to make sure that you get advantage on all saving throws, because that's really good. It's really good. And normally you would only have, you know, a few dice at low levels to be able to do this a couple times. Well, you're going to have a big mana pool really quick, so you can afford to do this a lot. When you cast a Scion spell with the casting time of an action, you can expend a number of energy dice equal to the level of the spell cast up to the max level that you can prepare as a Scion, but not more than 5 to cast a bonus action. Did I do that? Is that how I worded that? Sonic backlash when a creature you hit deals attack to death. Or is that the way that it's written? When you cast a Scion spell from the Aberration or Divination School with a casting time of an action, you can expend a number of Psionic energy dice to change the casting time equals 1 plus the spell's level to a bonus action. Okay, great. Yeah, no, we did it right. So perfect. Well, when you cast a Scion spell with a casting time of an action, you can expend a number of mana equal to the level of the spell cast up to the max level spell, up to your max energy limit as a bonus action. So you'd be able to cast this. You'd be able to cast a first level spell at 1 using this for 1 mana as a bonus action. But you wouldn't be able to use a 5th level spell until 17th level. So we're relaxing the restrictions on bonus spell casting. You can cast a spell on an action and a bonus action if you want to, but by both the sorcerer and the scion have this throttled back. You can only do this bonus action, like this meta magic changing a spell to a bonus action. You have this very slow progression. So by 9th level, when you're throwing around 5th level spells, at best you can swap in. You can make like a fireball a bonus action, and then be able to cast fireball again. Honestly, but the sorcerer, the max sorcery is only 3, so it would only be a 3rd level. It would only be a 3rd level fireball. So as a swift action, you'd be throwing a 8d6 fireball, or as a bonus action. But now I'm curious because I don't remember offhand. So let's look at D&D Beyond again. Fireball. Spell. One d6 for each spell slot above 3. So 5th level spell is 10d6. And this is going to be an 8d6. Yeah, that's pretty potent. But you can't do it until 9th level anyway. What's a really damaging 9th level spell? Because that's 18 for 8. Well, let's look at what an 8th level spell can do. Curious about that. What's our most damaging 8th level spell? Granted, you're getting it 6 levels early. Yeah, 6 levels early, but still curious. Abudalzim, Horrid Wilting. A creature takes 12d8 necrotic damage on a failed save as an AoE. 30-foot cube. Okay. Animal saves in a magic field. Yeah, we're gonna have to restrict that. It is too much. It's too versatile for too good. Feeble Mind, Glibness, Holy Aura, Illusory Dragon. Is it only direct damage? There's gotta be more direct damage. Maze, Mighty Fortress, Mind Blank, Power Word Stun, Sunburst. Radiant damage to everybody in a 60-foot cone. Okay, or sphere. Emanation. Conjure, create, crown. All right, we're good. When you Swift Manifestation, when you cast a Scion spell with a casting time of an action, you can expend a number of mana equal to the level of the spell cast up to your max energy limit as a bonus action. You can only do so if you the general rules in D&D is if you have cast a spell other than a cantrip during this turn, you cannot use this discipline, and once you use this discipline, you cannot cast a spell unless it's a cantrip for the rest of this turn. That's, again, so the thing is that there's very few spells. There's like 30 spells in the game that naturally have a bonus casting time, a natural casting time of a bonus action. Actually, I'm sorry. There's like 21 that require a bonus action, and like 8 of them are reaction. 4 of them are reactions. And so of the spells that are bonus actions, they're either teleportation to get you away from an enemy, or they're on hit effects that you spend the bonus action and the mana as a kicker effect to ramp your damage, like lightning arrow, for instance, on the Rangers list, or all of the smite spells are you use a bonus action to cast this spell by spending mana, and you can do additional damage plus this effect. Like that's, then there's like Dragon's Breath is a bonus action, but to use Dragon's Breath, it's a magic action, so you can cast it as a bonus action and use it the same turn, which is a great idea. Same thing, I believe, with Spiritual Weapon. That you cast the spell and then you can use it. I think you can cast it as a bonus action and then you can use it as a bonus action. So you can't cast and use it in the same turn, but that's an example of a sustained spell that's a bonus action that doesn't have any direct effect on anybody until additional action economy is expended to make use of it. So that's a natural throttle on how flexible bonus magic can be. The only reason they needed to implement the rule that you can't cast a leveled spell on the same turn as you do so as a bonus action, but you can as a cantrip, is because of the sorcerer. The sorcerer is literally the only reason to do that, because the sorcerer is the only one that is capable of converting any spell that they know into a bonus action to cast, and it is too strong to be able to just fireball and then fireball again. That is too strong. It's just too strong. So you can't do that, but you don't have to limit the rest of the game because of one toy that you wanted to give to one class that might not even be chosen by the character. So it's too restrictive, and I really don't think I don't think they thought through that mechanic, because there's so little spells that can be cast as a bonus action. So I need to grab this and drop this down into the sorcerer real quick, because there's 23 different meta magic, and I've gone too far. Come on, baby. Quicken spell. There. Now we can still allow clerics and druids and wizards and and bards, whatever, to be able to use their defensive spells on bonus actions, or their mobility spells as bonus actions, while they're still doing their normal stuff, because you're basically expending your bonus action and mana to basically get a dash action that you teleport with, or to summon an object, which is hardly a threat. So it's very limited on what it can do. So there's no reason to restrict it that way. Again, it's the quicken spell and the swift manifestation. Those are the only two things in the game that make this bonus action plus action to cast spells a problem. Everything else, it's cool. The martial power system actually has a ton of stuff that you can do as a bonus action that wombo combos really nicely, but you're scaling at half casting progression. So by the time you can do these wombo combos, it's no better than what a full caster of a similar level could do with a high level spell. And it would cost the same amount of mana, because you're comboing these things using multiple instances of mana to pop off your effects. So it ends up being the same cost as like a high level spell. So in that way, the martial power channeling system and the normal 5e spellcasting system complement each other really, really nicely. And obviously, I've been doing this for more than a year now, and playtesting and redesigning and updating and refining and killing my darlings to make sure that it works well and doesn't break anywhere. This is another instance of a darling being broken, but we don't have to kill it. We just have to take away one toy from 2 classes, one of which isn't even an official class. So that is a reasonable modification, and I think in the right direction. So, break my arm, patting myself on the back. Last one is Tactical Mind. When you take the study action, well, we know what this is going to be. Oops. Ability check. There we go. Copy. When you take the study action, you can expend an energy die and roll it, adding the highest result. Nope. Just like everything else with our stacking energy, when you take the study action, you can expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the ability check. There you go. So those are our disciplines. They're done. Yay. Let's go down into the Metamorph. What do we got going on down here, y'all? First level, Alter Self, Cure Wounds. And then we've got Inflict Wounds and Lesser Restoration. Is Alter Self a second level spell? I think it is, right? Let's not open that. Let's do this instead. I mean, smoke if we got him, right? Let's open the color mana list for 2024. We already built the list, so let's live it. There we go. Yeah, it's second level. Ultra Self, second level. It's blue, red, and green are the three magic types. Because alteration is very red, your body is generally going to be green, and just manipulating energies in general is a blue sort of effect. So blue, red, green. That's our three color options. If we were using a color mana system, it's a second level spell. So I'm just going to go like this: Inflict Wounds, Alter Self, Lesser Restoration. Thank you, Timely Timer. Then let's do like this. Like that. There. Cure Wounds and Inflict Wounds, great spells. Ultra Self, great spell. Lesser Restoration, awesome. Third level, you have second level spells. Organic. So now we're going to start using our mana system and the the energy dice and the max energy limits that we have built into the game to see how we can utilize anytime that a die comes up. We can consider, is this something that we can ramp with mana or not? You can shape your limbs into weapons. Whenever you take the attack action or make an opportunity attack, you can reform your free hand. You can reform your free hand into one of the following organic weapons: Bone Blade, Flesh Maul, or Viscera Launcher. Your limb immediately returns to its previous form after your organic weapon hits or misses its target. Whenever you attack with the weapon, you can use your casting stat modifier for the attack and damage rolls, and the damage is equal to the roll of your energy die. And the damage is damage rolls. The damage die is equal to your energy die. There. In addition, you can cause the weapons to deal psychic damage or its normal damage type. And then Bone Blade. A blade made of bone springs from your forearm and extends from your hand. The blade counts as a simple melee weapon with the finesse property, dealing piercing damage on a hit. You have advantage on the attack roll you make with the blade if at least one of your allies is within 5 feet of the target and the ally doesn't have the incapacitated condition. Okay, that's great. Flesh Maul. Your fist and forearm coalesce into a hardened mass of flesh and bone. The maul counts as a simple melee weapon that deals bludgeoning damage on a hit. A creature hit by the maul has disadvantage on the next strength or constitution saving throw it makes before the start of its next turn. There's some really great weapon mastery stuff that could be wombo comboed with this, like the flesh maul, bonk, and then trip them. That'd be a really fun effect. Or like to grapple them. They'd like you bonk them on the head and they're momentarily dazed, so you grapple them. They have disadvantage on the save. Yeah, it's like they built it for that. It's great. Visceral Launcher. Your hand and forearm transform into a crossbow made of muscle and sinew that fires bolts of bile. Launcher counts as a simple ranged weapon with a normal range of 30 feet and a long range of 90 feet, and it deals acid damage on a hit. You can cause the weapon to deal psychic damage or its normal damage type. So you can do psychic damage with this instead if you wanted to, but it deals acid damage on a hit. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with an attack roll using the launcher, you can deal an extra energy die of damage to the target. Oh, cool. Okay, great. Well, I mean, that's easy enough. No need to change that. As a bonus action, you can expend 1 psionic energy die for the next minute. You gain the following benefits: reach, speed, touch. As a bonus action, you can expend to gain the following benefits. You can spend one mana to gain the following benefits for 1 minute. Reach, your reach increases by 5 feet. Speed, your speed increases by 5 feet. Touch, when you cast a spell that has a range of touch and the casting time of an action, you can make the spell's range 10 feet instead. Nice. And at the end of the duration of this feature, when you cast a spell that has a range of touch and a casting time of an action, you can make the spell's range 10 feet. Not an attack roll, specifically casting a spell. Interesting. They're not giving you polearm reach for opportunity attacks. I think that's fun. At the end of the duration of this, this is something that we added. At the end of the duration of this feature, you can expend 1 mana to maintain the effect with concentration as a first level spell. Let's see. We want to change that. Instead of expending the mana, you can tap and maintain. You can tap it to maintain concentration as a level 1 spell. So you choose the mode, like the psionic modes. That's something you get for free. So when you use psionic modes, you can use it for free. But then at the end of the psionic modes duration, then you can choose to spend a point of mana to maintain concentration on it. This is having you spend a point of mana right away to use the feature. And so since you're gonna have to spend a point of mana no matter what anyway, we could set it up so that it requires you to maintain concentration, but then that locks down concentration points. So instead, what we want to do is give you the option. I want to maintain concentration on other shit, so I'm just going to pop this and it's going to last for a minute and it's going to be over. Or if I wanted to, at basically any time, I could, after I activate it, it's gone. So I can choose to instead maintain concentration with it. So at level 3, I can maintain up to 2 mana worth of concentration. So I could maintain a first level spell and maintain this at the same time, but my concentration DC would increase to 12. Extra attacks. You can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action. In addition, you can cast one of your psionic cantrips that has a casting time of an action in place of one of these attacks. Man, that's really, really good. That's a level 6. That makes me you know what? Honestly, that makes me want to go look at the fighter again real quick. Let's go. Let's scroll all the way down to the figure. Are we in the monk already? Yeah, I went too far. Went too far. Figure. Oh, there it is. Elder's Knight. Thank you. Warbond, 3rd level. You can have up to 2 items bonded to you this way. Bond the 3rd object. Blah. War Magic. Once per round, when you take the attack action, forgo one of your up to one attack. You can forgo up to one attack to increase an Eldritch Knight cantrip. The casting. Okay, great. So yeah, we get this at 7th level. Sam gets it at 5th. At 6th level, we get it at 7th. That feels appropriate. As in, I'm totally cool and legit with that. Let's see. Boop. Welcome everybody that's viewing the show. Steve, appreciate you being there. Lurkers out there, thanks a lot. Again, this document's available for you guys to read if you want. You can just click here into the Martial Powers playtest doc. It'll be read only for you, but you can read along, and all these things are built out to 20th level, so you can playtest. If your DM will allow it, you can playtest them like literally right now today. In the next couple weeks, we're going to be spending time here on stream instead of doing character options. We're going to be rebuilding the Strixhaven Sport Mage Tower into a combat sport, so you can use it during rounds of combat. You can play out rounds of combat, and the ball becomes both an ally and enemy to you that you can that you can't kill, but you can use masteries and different spell effects and actions to throw as an attack, like as a weapon, as a thrown weapon, towards the ally's goal, which will have an armor class. And then, like, if you have a goalie set up in front of it, they could use their reaction to try to, like, deflect, or like a monk could try to absorb the damage. So the ball would only do D4 damage, but like a paladin could ramp up using smite to ramp up the damage that the ball will do, and do like 30 points of damage, so it would blow through the monk's ability to deflect all the energy. So that's an interesting option that could be taken, and I think we're gonna find a lot of fun ways to convert the sport into combat, and then we can run rounds of combat where, like, the first to score 3 points wins the period, and like hockey, we'd have 3 periods. So whoever ends up winning like 2 out of 3 periods, to make it fast, it'd be whoever gets the 2 points first, and then, or like the 3 points first in whichever period, and then whoever wins 2 periods first wins the match, and then the game is over. And then we could have, and if we had 3x3 teams, you could have 6 players in a PvP environment playing sports against each other, with each team building strategies around the type of characters that they build, with the selection of skills, powers, spells, feats, and if allowed, magical gear that allows you to do different stuff, knowing that your goal is to literally throw the ball through the hole, for at least, even if it's 0 damage, to get it through the hoop, basically. So you make an attack against the armor class 10 goal, and if you hit it, but then your wizard could treat you could use like the protector feat, and put a warrior, a fighter, as the goalie, and they take the protection feat. So when the ball hits the hoop, you could increase the armor class of the target, potentially turning their attack into a miss, for instance. So like, there's a lot of different ways you can manipulate it. Or like, I guess a wizard that would put like a force cage around their hoop. But hold on, that makes you, let's I'm getting ahead of myself, because this is going to be our project in the next couple weeks, but I can't help geeking out, because that's what I do, because it's D&D. So give me a second here. Let's look at force cage. Is it one word? Tell me it's a concentration spell. Tell me it's a concentration spell. Tell me it's a concentration spell. Concentration! A 7th level concentration spell. So yeah, you could put a force cage around the goal as a goalie, but now your goal is to break the wizard's concentration so that they have to drop the force cage. So then you could attack the goal. So you would be attacking the goalie until the barrier goes down, and then you can attack it. So that's a fun idea. I had a burr on my finger. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's going to be fun. And then we'll be running Strixhaven match. We'll be running Mage Tower matches on my Discord server. The DM would be a literal referee, and if you have 6 players, then it'd be a 3-on-3 match. Or if you had a team of 3 players, the DM could have custom-built rival teams, and both be the referee in a neutral arbitration, and be the opposing team taking actions and coordinating with a custom-built team to work together, kind of like a boss fight. So a lot of fun potential. Or like the DM could fill in the gaps. Like if you only have 2 people each, you can do like a 2v2. I guess that would work. Or 1v1. I don't think 1v1 would be very fun. The only 2 players. I think it should be at least 2v2. So like at least 4 people playing would be nice. And I guess you could do DM 2v2. But I generally, as a DM, I generally don't like playing with less than 3 players, which would be enough for them to build their own team. But 6 would be ideal. Anyway, that's the idea. So we're going to mess around with it. It's a bit of a commitment to guarantee you have 6 people showing up to play a match. But theoretically, a match would only take an hour. So it could be quick and fun. It could be something to do. I don't think it's going to catch on as a trend, but it could be fun to playtest. It could be fun to stream. And playtest with streaming. That could actually be a lot of fun. So, all right, that's enough pontification. Let's get back to work. Enhanced healing. When you cast Cure Wounds, 6th level. When you cast Cure Wounds, you can use the Swift Manifestation Discipline when you do, even if you don't have it prepared. In addition, you can expend a number of dice equal to the level of the spell cast this way, even if it exceeds 5. Hold on. Let's look up how this spell is actually supposed to work, or this feature, because that's a little wonky. So there's something weird about that. So I wanna suss through that again. Let's look at it raw. When you cast Cure Wounds, you can expend 2 psionic dice to change the casting time to a bonus action for this casting. When you do, you can roll 1 psionic die and add the number rolled to the total amount of hit points restored. Oh, I see. Roll 1 die. Huh. Because if you're gonna upcast a spell, it effectively becomes a higher level spell. So like you wouldn't be able to cast enhanced healing as a 3rd level spell until you're a 9th level, even though you could cast as a 3rd level spell at 5th level as a standard, as a magic action. The bonus action you wouldn't be able to until 9th level. So what we want to do is remove that restriction. When you cast Cure Wounds, you can use the Swift Manifestation Discipline, even when you do, even if you don't have it prepared. To do so, even if you don't have it prepared. In addition, you can expend a number of mana. In addition, the amount of mana you expend can equal the casting level of the spell, not your instead of your max channeling, your max energy limit. Again, your max energy limit, the amount of energy you can spend, the amount of mana you can spend on enhancing things with disciplines and stuff, is limited by your max energy limit, which is a half casting progression, 5 by 17, as opposed to your casting level, which is going, or the level of spell you can cast, which is going to be 9 at 17. So by doing it this way, it takes away the restriction of being limited by your max energy rank max energy level. Instead, you can do it this way. When you cast your wounds, you can use the Swift Manifestation Discipline to do so, even if you don't have it prepared. In addition, the amount of mana you expend can equal the casting level of the spell instead of your max energy limits. And when you do, moreover, you can roll I don't want to do that. It gives you one extra damn. It gives you one. You get 2 dice per level of spell that you spend this way. So it's super efficient. Amount of mana you expend can equal the casting level of the spell instead of your max energy limit. And at 6th level, it's a D8. Moreover, when you cast the spell this way, you can roll your energy die instead of D8s because it's a D8 on the Cure Wounds is 2D8 plus your stat modifier. At 6th level, at 5th level, you get a D8 energy die, so it's the same. But by 10th level, by 10th level, it's a D10. So now you're rolling at minimum 2D10 if you spend the extra mana to make it swift. And then at 17th level, it's a D6, D8. Yeah, D10, and then at 17 it's a D12. So 1 point of mana would be 2D12 points of healing plus your stat instead of 2D8. So, and again, you'd have to spend 1 point of mana to ramp it that way. And it's effectively the same at that point. I like that. I think that's a better solution. I think that's a good solution for the mana system that we use. So I like that. Let's see. Welcome, lurkers. Glad to have you here. Again, everyone can read along in this document if you want. Here's the playtest doc. It's a read-only document for you. And if you're interested in doing stuff with me in the future, here's my Discord community. Anyone is welcome. We do playtesting on Saturday, though our roster is pretty full right now. It could change in the future. Or, God willing, if we get enough people that are interested in running mana systems, maybe we can get a second DM to run a second team. That would be awesome. Or maybe on a different day of the week. Who knows? But you'd have to want to volunteer to do this stuff. But I would provide plenty of coaching for anyone that was willing to do that. I would bend over backwards for y'all. That's enhanced healing. 10 mutable forms. When you use extended limbs, the duration before concentration increases. Let's see. The duration increases. When you use extended limbs. That's right, because extended limbs, it's 1 minute, and then you can decide if you want to maintain concentration or not by spending a point of mana on it. When you extend the duration, before concentration extends to 10 minutes, and you gain one of the following benefits of your choice, the effect of which lasts until extended limbs ends. Stony epidermis. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration from taking damage. In addition, choose one of the following damage types: acid, bludgeoning, cold, fire, lightning, piercing, poison, slashing, thunder. Gain resistance to the chosen type. And then you can spend a point of mana to swap it. Let's see. Superior Stride. When you aren't wearing armor, you can take the dash action as a bonus action to have a climb speed. Again, hold on. When you use extend limbs, the duration before concentration increases 10 feet, and you gain one of the following benefits. Right. Unnatural flexibility, +2 to armor class, and your body along with everything else becomes bloody blah. Non-magical restraints. Any space narrow, you can expend 1 energy die and roll it, adding the result to your d20. You can move through any space as narrow as 1 inch, and when you attempt to escape from non-magical restraints or end the grapple or end the grapple condition. This is a kicker effect. You can expend 1 mana. You can expend a number of mana equal to your max rank. Let me grab that language here. You can expend mana up to your max energy limit. For those that are reading along, I'm on page 190. Here we go. Yeah, we've got things here, boys. Okay, you can expend. You can expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the ability check. It's the saving throw. No, yeah, it's an ability check. That's right, because it's escaping a grapple. Escape. Oh, I see why they're saying it that way. To the D20. I hear ice cream truck. It's tempting me. I'm going to resist. Adding the highest result to the D20. Adding the highest die. Adding the highest roll to the result of the D20 test. Because it's technically a D20 test. If it could be either an ability check or a saving throw, they're both D20 tests. D20 test becomes the common denominator. That's the language that should be used there. And then we have a kicker. Let's see. You can choose to expend 1 additional point. You can choose to expend additional. Let's see. Hold on. How do I want to word this? When you use extend limbs, the duration before concentration increases to 10 minutes, and you gain one of the following benefits of your choice, the effect of which lasts until extend limbs ends. You can moreover, you can expend additional mana to gain an additional benefit for each point. Let's see. Advantage on Constitution saving throws. While you aren't wearing armor, you can take the dash action as a bonus action. You have the climb speed. If you choose to maintain concentration to sustain this effect, the amount of mana tapped to do so is equal to the amount of mana expended on options on chosen on is equal to the amount of this effect. If you choose to maintain concentration to sustain this effect, the number of options that can be sustained this way is how many mana must be tapped. That's not the right language. We'll find better language later. But like, if you're going to choose, so the way that the feature works is that you could spend 1 point of mana on extend limbs and get this for a minute, or you could tap the mana to maintain concentration on it perpetually until you lose concentration or let it go. For 1 point of mana, you get this. So if you never lose concentration, you have it all day until you take a long rest and become unconscious and automatically lose concentration as a result of it. But with this, for that 1 point of mana, you can now also do one of these things, and you can still sustain that as a concentration effect for 1 mana. But if I want to tack on these other 2 things with it, or just one of them, it'll be 2 or 3 mana that I'm going to expend, which will last 10 minutes, or I could spend, say, 3 mana as a 3rd level spell maintaining concentration on all of those effects for however long I can sustain concentration. Honestly, spending the 3 points of mana and getting it for free for 10 minutes is a better deal than spending 3 points of mana to maintain concentration, because you're really tying up your concentration a lot. And if you're in combat and stuff, when you would probably want to use this, the chances of you losing it is going to increase with every additional point that you tap. So it becomes really risky with higher and higher uses. But if you're having like 4 fights a day and each fight is at least 10 minutes apart, you're gonna have to spend that 3 points of mana over and over again. But you get 80 mana at 20th level, so it's fucking worth it. Ultimately, it's worth it. Life bending weapons. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with an organic weapon, with your organic weapon, you can expend 1 energy die and roll it. Each creature of your choice in a 10-foot emanation originating from you regain hit points equal to the number rolled plus your casting stat modifier. Additionally, 1 creature of your choice in that area takes necrotic damage equal to the number rolled. Okay, great. So once per turn. I don't. It's so throttled. I don't see a limit. I don't see a reason to limit it. So when I'm getting rid of the once per turn. It just doesn't feel necessary. When it's like with rangers. They're so afraid to let rangers just add damage to their attack rolls when like it's hunters, like when it's a marked prey or whatever. But the paladin gets an extra D8 permanently, like at 11th level. So it's like it's weird that they don't let you do that. When you hit a creature, so like this only once per round thing. It's not like you're saving the game stats from being wrecked by throwing an extra D8 on top of shit. It doesn't break the game. We've been playtesting it for months. It's fine. When you hit a creature with an organic weapon, you can expend 1 mana to roll an energy die. Period. Each creature of your choice in a 10-foot emanation originating from you regains hit points equal to the number rolled plus your casting stat. Additionally, 1 creature of your choice in that area takes necrotic damage equal to the number rolled. Okay, easy enough. And that's the end of the metamorph. So let's move on to the side warper. Insert free flavor. Scion spells, Expeditious Retreat, Featherfall, Misty Step, Shatter. Misty Step and Shatter, I'm pretty sure are 2nd level spells. They're great spells. So let's see how we can bend this shit. Blink, Haste, Banishment, Dimension Door, Steel Wind Strike, Teleport, Circle. These are all super cool. I'm immediately thinking about blending this with Archfey Warlock. So let's see how this thing rolls. When you cast Misty Step, you can expend an energy die. The range of the spell increases based on the size of the die. How does Misty Step normally work? Hold on real quick. Because we can bend this thing. I want to bend it. How are we going to mess with you? What does mana normally do? Oh, it normally doesn't let you do shit. Briefly surrounded by silvery mist, you teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. So let's see. It's a D6 at... you get a D6 energy die at 1st level. So when you cast Misty Step... the range of the spell increases a number of feet equal to 10 times your max energy limit. One equals plus 10 feet, total 40. Two equals plus 20 feet, total 50 feet. Three equals, and this is at level range. Level 1, level 5, level 10, 9, 13, 17. That's progress. 40 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet, 70 feet, 80 feet. There you go. Warp Propel. When you target fails a saving throw against when... Let's go look at our Telekinetic Propel real quick. Telekinetic Propel. So, psionic power. You gain the telekinetic and telepathic feat, which are enhanced by your psionic power. Telekinetic Propel. When you use the telekinetic feat to push a target, you can expend 1 mana to roll an energy die, increasing the DC of the save by an amount equal to the die roll. And if the target fails the saving throw, you can push them an additional 5 feet. Ooh. Wait a second. I see opportunity. Yes. Where'd he go? Give me... There. To push a target, you can expend... You can expend mana up to your max energy limit. So 1 at first, 5 at 17th, half casting progression. Your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the adding the highest result to the DC of the save by an amount equal to the die roll. And if the target fails the saving throw, you can push them an additional 5 feet times the mana expended this way. There. Telepathic connection. When you use the telepathic feat, you can expend 1 mana to communicate with a creature that doesn't share a language with you for a number of minutes equal to the result of the die roll. At the end of this duration, you can choose to maintain concentration as a level spell. I'm going to wait a second. Alternatively, you can choose to maintain concentration. You can choose to tap 1 mana to maintain concentration as a level 1 spell. On this effect as a level 1 spell. There you go. When you use the telepathic feat, you can expend 1 mana to communicate with a creature that doesn't share a language with you for a number of minutes equal to the result of the die roll. I need to look up the tech thoughts. Actually, what I need to do is look up telekinetic. And I need to look up telepathic. Telekinetic feat. And telepathic feat. First off, what does telepathic normally let us do? Detect thoughts. Second level spell. You can cast it without a spell slot or spell components, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it in this way again. You can also cast it by using a spell slot you have of the appropriate level, which means second level you can spend 2 mana to use it again. Your spellcasting ability modifier is the ability to increase the spell. more relevant is telekinetic. You learn the Mage Hand spell. You can cast it without materials, verbal components. Hold on. You gain the telepathic kinetic feat without benefiting from increasing your stats. Without gaining additional stats, which can enhance your psionic power. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Because you don't want to give, if you're going to give somebody a feat, you don't want to give them the ability score increase with it. That's way too much. So looking again. Minor telekinesis, touch away 30 feet, blah. As a bonus action, you can telekinetically shove one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. When you do so, the target must make a strength saving throw. We can ramp that with our, yeah, we can ramp that. Telekinetic propel. When you use a telekinetic feat to push a target, you can expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the DC. And you can push them an additional 5 feet for every point of mana expended this way. Perfect. So 10-foot push plus 5 feet per point of mana spent. At level 1, you'll add a D6 to the DC of them saving against it, which they'll probably fail, and then you get to push them. So that's how this mana, that's how the channeling system works. Like in the first 30 pages of this document is the entire martial channel system. That fighters, barbarians, rogues, monks, as well as that use as like an alternate half-casting magic system that works the same as the color mana system for spellcasters. And then rangers, paladins, artificers, and warlocks can choose to prepare powers instead of spells. So if you want to have like a really gishy warlock, instead of learning spells, just have them dump their short rest mana into just a bunch of powers. So they ramp really, so they can, eventually have high magic, like 6th level, 7th level, 8th level, 9th level spells, but have all these martial powers to spend their short rest mana on. Super fun. All right, so that solves the sound. So now we know what the psionic powers do. I'm gonna grab a quick screenshot of this so we can have it on hand. In case we need it. So, disciplines are resolved, metamorph is resolved, back on task. Side warper, that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna drop it down. There we go. One page. We already figured out Misty Step, warp propel. There we go. When a target fails its saving throw against your telekinetic propel, instead of pushing it, you can teleport the target to an unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet of you that is horizontal to you. Cool. Warp space. Level. I don't have a reason to change it. That's just super fucking cool. It's good as is. It doesn't need a mana kicker. Not everything needs a mana kicker. When you cast Shatter, you can expend. I guess there's a reason why. I guess you. To an unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet. Yeah, it's a lot better. When you cast... Oh, wait. Against your telekinetic propel. That is required... The way that telekinetic propel normally works with the... Hold on. TK Pro. Telekinetic... let's look at it real quick. Because it always costs you a die. It always costs you mana. So let's look at it. Yeah, when you expend it, you can roll an energy die. As a bonus action, choose one large creature that you can see within 30 feet of yourself, and then roll one sonic energy die. The target is succeeded, saving throw up to. Oh wait, roll a die, but don't spend it. You can see someone within 30 feet and then roll 1 psionic energy die. The target must succeed on a saving throw straight away. The die is expended only if the target fails the saving throw. Okay, so yeah, you don't have to spend mana normally. So we don't have to spend mana normally. So we can just do it. Instead of pushing, you can teleport a target to because they have to fail their saving throw against you. That's why. Okay, and your allies can choose to fail saving throws, so they can automatically be teleported to a location of your choice. Shout out to Indestructiboy Terran Pounds for noticing, for calling that out. I didn't see it. I didn't think of that until he called it out specifically, but props where props are due. Warp Space, when you cast Shatter, you can spend mana to modify the spell so that the radius of the spell sphere becomes 20 feet. In addition, creatures that fail the saving throw against the spell are pulled straight towards the center of the sphere, ending in unoccupied spaces close to the center of the sphere. As close to the center of the sphere as possible. Let's look up Shatter real quick so we know what we're talking about, right? Shatter. Shatter. Shadooby. Shatter. Shatter. 60-foot range, 10-foot radius. A loud noise erupts from a point you can see of your choice within range. Creature, 10-foot sphere centered there, makes a Constitution saving throw against a throw, taking 3d8 thunder damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. The construct has disadvantage. Higher slots, extra damage. Okay, so this is a 6th level ability. It's going to cost you an energy die to do it. Energy dice have the cost of 2 mana. If you're going to just get extra die, I mean, actually that's not true. A Bardic Inspiration die is worth 2 mana. So this is very similar to that. So what we want to do is when you cast a Shatter spell, you can expend additional mana to modify the spell so that the radius of the spell sphere increases. It becomes 20 feet instead of 10. In addition, creatures that fail the saving throw against the spell are pulled straight towards the center of the sphere, which is an implosion. So let's look again real quick here at let's drop down to the sorcerer, which is around page 180, 200. Wizard. Let's go up to sorcerer's meta magic for imploding spell. That's a literal a literal translation. Thank you. So for 2 meta magic, imploding spell. When you cast a spell that deals damage, choose a number of creatures affected up to your charisma modifier. Chosen creatures are pulled up to 10 feet towards the effect's point of origin. The creatures stop moving if the space it would enter is occupied. So it's basically implosive spell. So warp space, implosive spell, that's good. When you cast Shatter, you can expend 2 mana to modify the spell so that the radius of the spell's sphere becomes 20 feet. In addition, creatures that fail the saving throw. This makes a 2nd level spell a 4th level spell. It doubles the area, and it forces creatures to move up to 20 feet towards the center of the casting. That is worth 4 mana. 3d8 damage plus a massive pull effect is worth. Considering you get 80 mana by 20th, that ain't bad. By 6th level, you have 26 mana, and you can get back 3 on a short rest. Immediately after you cast Misty Step, you can cast one of your Scion cantrips that have a casting time of an action as part of the bonus. As part of the bonus action, Jesus Christ, that's really good. Holy crap! 6 Scion, 14 Archfey Warlock as a 20 level build is kind of looking juicy. It's kind of looking juicy. 6 levels here, plus 14 levels of Warlock, you'd still have a 20th level caster. You'd have 14 temporary mana, pack mana that you get back on a short rest. Here, hold on. I'll show you guys. Hold on. Let's go look at the MTG stuff. I'll show you real quick. MTG. And we'll look at the spell Point Warlock. These all have free previews, so. Thank you, everyone, by the way, that have purchased the Spell Point Warlock book. Gold medal status. It's like in the top 5% of sales on the DMsGuild. It's high level. So I appreciate people's support and interest in this. Even though it's pay what you want and people can choose not to, the way that happens is somebody will buy one of my books. This is in the bundle. It's only $1 in the bundle. They just add to it because the core mechanics is basically 25% off. So this becomes affordable. The first chapter is the spell point mechanics according to the DMG 2014, which doesn't exist anymore in 2024. So we just use our universal spell points and high magic system, which is a 1-to-1 point ratio. And as you can see here on the Warlock table, you get it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? So first level spell costs 1 point. And you have 1 point of mana at first level, so you're only casting one spell on a short rest that way. Yeah, you're a little bit of a disadvantage there, but with the 2024 rules, we have the ability to regain mana on a short rest. As a 1 minute ritual between rests, we can regain our max rank, our max level spell, which is at level 1 at level 20. You can effectively cast 10th level spells, which in this system is Wish. Wish is the only 10th level spell. You don't get Wish until 19th level. If you want to cast Wish, you got to be focused in a single full casting class till 19th level. It forces you, like, you could multi-class into something, like you could multi-class into Fighter for 2 levels, or you could get Wish. Take your pick. You can't get them both. Anyway, so you get short rest mana. It comes back on a short rest. That's pack mana. That's 1 to 20. So by 20th level, you can cast 4 5th level spells. Yes, it's a slower progression than what you would get as a Warlock in the player's handbook, but you can also spend 1 point to cast Shield or Charm Person or whatever. Like first level, second level, third level, fourth level spells become worth it. And then there's Arcanum. So Arcanum points are long rest. So at 6th level, it costs 6 points to cast a 6th level spell, and you can only do it once per day. So it's long rest mana, but you're getting this stack of mana here. The amount of the actual amount of high level spells that you can cast is your max level spell minus 5. So at 19th level, you can cast 5 spells of level 6 or above, and they cost 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 mana each. So you could potentially cast at 20th level. You could potentially, at 19th level, at 17th level even, you could cast 3 9th level spells. But like again, if they require concentration, it's your concentration DC is 19 or higher if damage allows it. So your concentration is really fragile, and you can lose it on any saving throw. So it's high risk, high reward. I'm thinking about throttling that back, but so far it hasn't wrecked any games. So you get this mana on a long rest. This mana can be spent on high magic, or it can be spent on packed magic spells, but packed mana cannot be spent on Mystic Arcanum. So if you don't care about high level spells, you effectively get a 20 mana back on a short rest and 40 mana to spend on like an 8 extra 5th level spells at 20th level if you don't care about casting any spells from level 6 up. So you have that flexibility and option. I personally, just for reference, I personally don't see a problem with somebody casting multiple 9th level spells, because you only have 1, 6, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th level spell slot over the course of your character's career. And you can cast whatever spell you want inside of those, because like a wizard under normal circumstances, a wizard with a similar chassis would have 2 6th, 2 7th, an 8th, and a 9th level spell. So they get 1, 2, 3, 4. They get 6 spells, and we get 5. They can cast 2 6th, 2 7th, an 8th, and a 9th, while we get 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then the extra spell here is basically either casting Wish or upcasting another spell. And it'll cost you 10 mana to do it, so it's expensive. So it's kind of a 6 or a half dozen. Like casting, like for example, Imprisonment is a 10-minute ritual, and it'll cost you 9 mana to do it. That's not a combat spell, but like being able to cast like Foresight on yourself as a persistent spell effect that'll eat up 9 mana. Okay, you have advantage on rolls. The DM at that level has plenty of things that give you disadvantage. All you're doing with Foresight is removing disadvantage, and you're already having dice that can ramp your bonuses. Anyway, you're welcome to fight me over it, but do it on my Discord, and you can join that for free down below. So anyway, back to the sauce. There. Warp space, teleport, combat. Immediately after you cast Misty Step, you can cast one of your Scion cantrips. So anyway, at 14th level, you'd have 9 long rest mana from your Warlock. You'd have 20 mana for the Scion, so that's a total of 29 mana on a long rest, and then the Warlock would give you 14 mana on a short rest. So you'd have a pool of, 29 plus 14, 39. You'd have 43 mana on a long rest, and every short rest you'd get 14 mana back. So this would be really fucking great with a Fae. So the whole point of that conversation was the Warlock as an Archfey gets all these teleportation, Misty Hop bouncing effects. So this would stack on that. When you cast Misty Step, which you get a fuck ton of as a Warlock, on top of that, not only are you doing all these kicker effects with what the Archfey can do, you could also cast a cantrip for free on top of it. Like, god damn, that's good. That is so sick. I would totally play that. Totally would play that. Duplicitous target. That would really, I mean, at 9th level, that kicks in for the 3 Warlock and 6 teleport combat here for the Scion. And by 12th level, it's looking incredibly good. And by 14, it's just insane. Super insane good. All right, so less geeking out. Who am I kidding? I'm always going to geek out. Duplicitous targets. When a creature you can see makes an attack roll against you, you can take a reaction to expend mana and choose a willing creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself that doesn't have the incapacitated condition. You and the willing creature can teleport, swapping places with each other. The creature then becomes the target of the attack roll. So this would be, you can take a reaction to expend 2 mana. Because you're basically misty swapping with somebody. Yeah, there you go. Easy peasy. And then mass teleportation. As a magic action, you can expend 8 mana and choose a huge or smaller sized creature within 30 feet of yourself up to a number of creatures equal to your intelligence modifier. The minimum of one creature. Each of the chosen creatures is teleported to an unoccupied space that you can see within 150 feet of you. An unwilling creature that succeeds on a saving throw against this feature is unaffected. At level 14, you can only cast a 7th level spell, and equal to your ability, your spell casting ability modifier, because we let you use intelligence, wisdom, or constitution with this for multi-classing. For multi-classing purposes, of course. So it's kind of a non-bow. I guess it's kind of a non-bow with the Warlock, but I think we allow the Warlock to use alternate stats as well. I don't remember what stats we let the Warlock use though. So let's go down. Let's scroll. I probably could have scrolled up and it would have been faster. Oh, here we are. Warlock. What kind of spell casting can we do with the Warlock? Did we make any? Oh, here we go. Intelligence or charisma as your spellcasting ability. So a Scion Warlock blend could use intelligence as their mad. Let's see. So as a magic action, you can expend 4 psionic dice and choose huge or smaller creature within 30 feet of yourself, up to a number of creatures equal to your spellcasting ability modifier, probably 5 at this point. Each of the chosen creatures is teleported to an unoccupied space, which could be in the sky, and you fall, taking 15d6 damage. Wisdom save to avoid. It could be beneficial. It could be horrible. 15d6. It's 2d8 on a heal. Let's call it, you can expend 7 mana. And choose huge or smaller creatures within 30 feet of yourself. There you go. And that completes the Sight Warper. So let's go down to the Psykinetic. Psykinetic, that's a cool word. Cloud of Daggers, Levitate, Shield, Thunderwave. I think Shield and Thunderwave are first level, and I think Cloud of Daggers and Levitate are second. So let's do that. And then it's Slow, and then Telekinetic Crush, Autolux, Resilient Sphere, Stone Shape, Telekinesis, Wall Force. Groovy. So, back at it. Telekinetic Techniques. Great name. When you use your Telekinetic Propel, you can impose one of the following effects on the target. Boost. Target speed increases 10 feet. One of the following effects. Oh yeah, boon. That's a boon. So if you push somebody 10 feet, you can then ramp their speed. Oh, that's really fun. Disorient. The target can't make opportunity attacks until the start of the next turn. And then TK Bolt. If the target fails the saving throw, it takes force damage equal to the number rolled. It takes force damage equal to the result of an energy die. Because it's like monks deal energy dice worth of damage. Empowered attack. Let's see. If the target fails the saving throw, it takes force damage equal to 1 for free. Cool. We'll see if that improves later. Empowered attack mode. When your attack mode is active, if the target fails the saving throw, which you can ramp. Again, you can ramp that. So going back and looking at we were smart. We did this. So Telekinetic Propel. When you use this Telekinetic feat to push a target, you can expend mana up to your max energy limit, which is half casting progression, 1 at first, 5 at 17, to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the DC of the save. So at 17th level, if you really wanted to, you could spend 5 mana and roll 5 12-sided dice and keep the best result and add it to the difficulty. And if you do so, you can push them an additional 25 feet. So it's automatically 10 feet just from pushing them, but if you dump 5 mana into it, it's a total of 35 feet. So let's see how this plays. By 5 feet plus 5 feet per mana expended until the end of your next turn. If the target fails the saving throw, it takes force damage equal to the result of an energy die. If the target fails the saving throw, it takes force damage equal to the result of an energy die plus in addition, you can expend additional. You can expend mana up to your expend mana. No, because we're double dipping. That's too much. We can't just add. We can't just spend mana to add damage because we're already spending mana to increase the saving throw to push them in the first place. This is actually sufficient. It's a free die. We may see that change in the future. We'll keep an eye out for that. Empowered attack. When you take when your attack mode is when your psionic modes are active, because you get both of them as a concentration effect, or for a minute for free if you want. You gain a fly speed of 60 feet and can hover. And when you cast a Scion spell, you can add your casting stat modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. Cool. Okay, no need to change that more. Rebounding field, level 6. When you cast shield in response to being hit by an attack roll and cause the triggering attack to miss, you can expend mana to launch the force back at the attacker. Right. This is the monk ability. You can expend 1 psionic die to launch the force back at the attacker. The attacker makes a dexterity saving throw. Roll 2 psionic energy dice. You can expend. When you cast shield in response to being hit by an attack roll and cause the triggering attack to miss, you can expend mana up to your max energy limit to launch the force back at when he catches to launch the force back at the attacker. The attacker makes a dexterity saving throw. Roll attacker makes a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the attacker takes force damage equal to the result of a number of energy dice equal to the mana expended this way. Oof. Whoa. Okay. That's really, really good. So it takes half as much damage only. And you gain temporary hit points equal to the amount. I'm going to change this. Because that's way too efficient. That's too good. If we're going to ramp it, that's too much ramping for too many benefits. So let's do it this way instead. On a failed save, the attacker takes force damage equal to the result of a number of energy dice. Let's see. Let's see. You can expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice. You can divide the result between granting yourself temporary temp HP and damaging the attacker. You can divide any amount of the result between granting yourself temporary hit points and damaging the attacker. The attacker makes a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, takes half damage, minimum 1. There. So now I use the shield spell. I can dump extra mana on top of it, roll a bunch of energy dice, add up the energy dice. That's my pool of damage. I can either give myself that all as temporary hit points. I can kick it all to my attacker as reflected damage, and he saves for half, or I can split it up between the two of us in any amount. If I didn't word that well, when I hire an editor, and if this feature gets locked down, when I hire an editor, they'll tell me, stupid, write it this way instead. And I'll say, yes, sir, because that's why I pay you. Enhanced Telekinetic Crush. You can cast Telekinetic Crush. When you cast Telekinetic Crush is a new spell. Let's check it out. Telekinetic Crush. I guess it was earlier in the document. No, here it is. Wait. Are these new feats? Holy shit. Side Trickster. Cunning Mind. Sonic Talent. Minor Illusions. Oh, neat. Psychokineticist. And I don't see a reason why you can't have more than one wild talent if you're willing to spend feats on it. That seems, or are these origin feats? No, even origin feats you can pick up. That is, we're gonna check those out because I haven't seen those yet. I haven't looked at them at all. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get past the critters. Telekinetic Crush. There we are. 3rd level. You create a field of crushing telekinetic force in a 30-foot cube within range. Each creature in that area makes a strength saving throw. On a failed save, target takes 5d6 force damage and has the prone condition. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage only. Okay, and then Telekinetic Fling. You brandish the ammunition used to cast the spell and fire it at a creature within range using psionic energy. Make a ranged spell attack. This AI assistant bullshit is just really fucking pissing me off. Thank you. You brandish the ammunition. No one asked for AI and everything. You brandish the ammunition used to cast this spell and fire it at a creature within range using psionic energy. Make an attack roll. Force damage. Hit. D10, 2d10, 3d10, 4d10. Cool. And then we'll look at feats later. So, next. How's that go? So when you use Telekinetic Crush, force damage, make things prone. You can spend 1 psionic energy die to modify the spell so that whether a creature fails or succeeds on a saving throw against the spell, its speed is halved. You can expend 1 mana. To modify the spell so that whether a creature succeeds or fails a saving throw against the spell, its speed is halved until the start of your next turn. Okay. And then Heightened Telekinesis last. When you cast Telekinesis, which is a 5th level spell, you can expend energy. You can spend mana to modify the spell so that it doesn't require concentration. If you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute. And you can target gargantuan creatures. Okay, so it's a 5th level spell. At 17th level, we can cast up to 7th level spells. When you cast Telekinesis, you can expend 4 psionic energy die to modify the spell so that it doesn't require concentration. So it'd be 5 mana for concentration. And at 13th level, our maximum meta magic usage is 4, because their 13th and half casting progression is 4. So the energy dice lines up. Okay. 5 mana. We're going to double the cost. And that sets up a potential precedence for us to do this in the future as well. You can expend 5 mana to modify the spell so that it doesn't require concentration. If you do, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute for the casting. And you can target gargantuan creatures. Okay, great. So that one's done. Telepath, Bane, Command, Detect Thoughts, Mind Spike. Is Bane a 2nd level spell? I don't remember. Bane. Bane, this is a 1st level spell. Bane, command, detect thoughts. Is Mind Spike? I'm not real familiar with Mind Spike, to be honest. Mind Spike. Sonic Energy, let's go. You drive a spike of sonic energy into the mind of a creature that was seen within range. It takes a bunch of psychic damage and has the damage as a successful one. Failed save, target location. You always know the target's location until the spell ends, which is for however long concentration can last, but only while the two of you are on the same plane of existence. While you have this knowledge, the target can't become hidden from you, and if it has the invisible condition, it gains no benefit from that condition from you. Wow, Mind Spike's great. I've never seen anyone play using Mind Spike before. That's surprising. What a great spell. So Mind Spike and Detect Thoughts. Those are second level spells. So let's treat them accordingly on their own line. Thank you. Counterspell. Great. Counterspell makes a lot of sense. Speak of plants. Sure. Compulsion, Confusion, Awaken, Modify Memory. I love Awaken. Such useful. I like casting Awaken as an amplified spell on Spelljammer ships. So that they, if you have a wooden or ship made out of natural materials like bone, sinew, stuff like that, then you can cast Awaken on it as an amplified spell, like at 2 levels higher than normal, and it becomes Awakened. So your ship becomes a sidekick, and it can take actions, can become part of your team to lend its action economy during ship combat. So let's get into it. When you cast Detect Thoughts, which is a second level spell that we automatically give you Detect Thoughts as a second level spell because with the telepath spell with the telepathic feat that we give you a free use of Detect Thoughts. So the telepath gets Detect Thoughts. This gives us an opportunity to check the color mana spell list and see if there's a different second level spell that we might think would be interesting to give to a telepath. So let's keep in mind that we have Mind Spike already. And so we already have Detect Thoughts and Mind Spike. We need a third spell. So let's see if we can find one. Oh, Beast Sense. That makes sense, doesn't it? That'd be kind of cool, too. Because we automatically get Detect Thoughts from the telepath feat. Enthrall isn't bad either. What do you guys think? Is Enthrall better or Beast Sense? Kind of thinking Enthrall. It jives more with Compulsion and Confusion. Yeah. Because you automatically get Detect Thoughts as a scion for telepathy. Mind Infiltrator. When you cast Detect Thoughts, which is free, we already have it. You can expend 2 sonic energy die to modify the spell so that the spell doesn't require spell components or concentrate. Doesn't require. Well, what fucking spell components does it actually need? Hold on. Because you can already cast spells without verbal or mental component, verbal or material components, as long as the material component isn't expensive. So this sounds kind of redundant, doesn't it? That's like a non-bow, isn't it? VSM with an apostrophe. A copper piece. Okay. Well. Okay. You're just okay. Does it mention that? You always have to Detect Thoughts prepared, and you can cast it without a spell slot or spell components. Thank you. And you must finish a long rest before you can cast it. Okay, great. So that's a non-bow feature. So, when you cast Detect Thoughts, you can expend 2 sonic energy dice. Let's read Detect Thoughts. You activate one of the effects below until the spell ends. You can activate either effect as a magic action or on your later turns. Sense thoughts. You can sense the presence of thoughts within 30 feet of yourself that belong to creatures that know languages or are telepathic. Don't read the thoughts, but you know that a thinking creature is present. The spell is blocked by 1 foot of stone, dirt, wood, inch of metal. Read thoughts. Target one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself, or one creature within 30 feet of yourself that you have detected with your sense thoughts option. You learn what is most on the target's mind right now. If the target doesn't know any language and isn't telepathic, you learn nothing. As a magic action, on your turn, you can try to probe deeper into the target's mind. If the probe deep, you activate one of the effects until the spell ends. You activate either effect as a magic action. Either way, the target knows that you are probing. The target makes a wisdom saving throw on a failed save. You discern the thoughts. I'm thinking about making this persistent. But let's see. Perfect thoughts. Potent thoughts. You add your caster stat modifier when you deal damage with a silent cantrip. Telepathic bolstering. When you or a creature that have telekinetic connection with fail an ability check or misses with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to expend one psionic energy die and add that number to the d20, potentially turn a fail into a success. Okay. Scramble minds. You can when you cast confusion. Okay, great. So yeah, this is obvious. This is wait, hold on. Telepathic hub. When you use a telepathic connection, you can communicate this way with a number of creatures equal to blah 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 blah. What does this do? You can speak telepathically to any creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself. Your telepathic utterances are in a language you know, and the creature understands you only if it knows that language. Your communication doesn't give the creature the ability to respond to you telepathically. Okay, so we can do that. So Mind Infiltrator. When you cast, you can expand. Doesn't require spell components or concentration, and the target does not know if you're probing its mind. If it fails the saving throw. When you cast Detect Thoughts, you can expend 2 mana. To modify the spell so that it is persistent and the target does not know you're probing its mind if it fails the wisdom saving throw. Okay, cool. So so there's 3 durations in this mana system: instant, concentration, and persistent. Instant is like what you expect it to be. It's a fireball pot. Hold on real quick. Let's take you into it. Core mana. Free preview. Full preview. Thank you. Variant constant. Simplified durations. Instantaneous spells listed in the player's handbook remain unchanged. Some spells, such as Teleportation Circle, have a duration of 1 round. With DM's approval, the caster may maintain concentration to extend the effects as noted below. And then we have a bunch of examples of that stuff. But let's look at persistent spells. Persistent spells can be disrupted by targeting. Hold on. Thank you. Persistent spells can be disrupted by targeting the spell effect with dispel magic or other similar means. A persistent spell can be detected by True Seeing. If a persistent spell such as Gesh and Clone target a creature or object that... Hold on, sorry. Using this variant, spells have one of 3 durations: instantaneous, persistent, or concentration. Consult the spell chart here for ICP. It's not the Insane Clown Posse, y'all. It is instant, concentration, and persistent. So, instant, persistent, or concentration. Consult the 5-color mana chart, what the durations are. Some of them have changed because of the mana system. So instantaneous, these spells have no sustained effects, such as Cure Wounds, Fireballs, Teleport, for example, are instantaneous effects. Persistent spells, these spells have sustained magic effects that are active until finishing a long rest. Any spell in the player's handbook with a magic effect lasting longer than 24 hours retains the longer duration. And then concentration is the spells have sustained magical effects that continue while the caster maintains concentration until dismissed or disrupted. When using simplified durations, choosing to begin a long rest dismisses any concentration spells even if no sleep is required. So those are your 3. So by making Detect Thoughts a persistent spell, it will remain active literally until you finish a long rest. And persistent spells can be disrupted by targeting the spell effects with Dispel Magic or other means. A persistent spell can be detected by True Seeing, Detect Magic, and similar spells as a faint magic aura of the color's devotion around the target or an area affected by the spell. If a persistent spell such as Gesh or Clone target a creature or object that is killed or destroyed, the spell effect ends immediately. Other persistent spells like Cordon of Arrows that instead target areas aren't affected as such. And then Burn for Days. If the caster chooses, persistent spells that would end after completing a long rest can remain in effect without having to cast the spell again. When you complete a long rest, you may burn mana equal to the total levels of persistent spells sustained. Spells that last longer than 24 hours don't require this. Some persistent spells have additional considerations when you burn for days, yada yada. So if I have like 6 castings of Animate Dead to have a horde of zombies with me, that's 18 mana that I've committed to creating those undead. If I don't want to lose control of those undead at the end of the 24-hour duration, I instead burn. And I just leave those 18 points of mana spent so that the ability retains, it stays in effect. Super fun for your Liliana builds. So when we do this, when you cast Detect Thoughts, you can expend 2 mana to modify the spell so that it is persistent. Now we know what persistent means, right? And of course, if this book gets published, if the Sign actually comes out, then this will be able to reference and pull concentration, like duration mechanics from the core mechanics and add it to this book. And this will end up being like a $2 thing maybe. That would be reduced down to $1 and added to the bundle. Telepathic Hub, so like you'd have like a 38% discount at that point. When you use Telepathic Connection, you can communicate this way with a number of creatures equal to when you use Telepathic Connection, you can communicate via you and a number of creatures equal to the maximum level spell you can cast as a Scion can all use telepathic utterances. Can all use telepathic utterances with each other if each has a language or telepathy. Once they're connected, while they're within 60 feet of you, you don't need to see them to continue communicating this way. And telepathic does that have a limit? 60 feet. There you go. Fuck off. Perfect. Empowered defenses. Okay. Keeping at it. Whenever your psionic modes are active, you can use your reaction to make a saving throw when what? Oh, psionic modes. Let's look at psionic modes real quick. Hold on. I'm like, what are we talking about? Oh, good question. Psionic modes. Psionic modes is like the psionic version of the innate sorcery spell rage that the sorcerers get now. So, psionic power. Nope. Psionic. Nope. Psionic discipline. Nope. Psionic modes. As a bonus action, you can manifest psionic power for 1 minute, during which you gain the following benefits. When you deal psychic damage, it can't be resisted. And when you roll psychic damage, you can expend 1 mana to reroll a number of damage dice up to your casting ability modifier. You have to use new rolls. You have resistance to psychic damage, and when you fail an Int Wizard Ka check, you can use a reaction to expend mana up to your max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the save, potentially changing failure to success. You can use this feature twice, and you regain 1 use when you finish a short rest, and all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. So, int saves, and when you fail, you can use a reaction to expend mana up to, oh, there it is. There it is. Hold on, guys. This is going to be hot. Hot, hot, hot. Check it out. When you use Empowered defense modes, right. Whenever your psychic modes are active, you can use your reaction to make a saving throw. You can roll 2 dice instead of 1, keeping the highest result. No. Whenever your psychic modes are active, you no longer need to use a reaction to expend mana to increase the result of your save. Period. Fuck off. Potent's Thoughts. You add your casting stat modifier to the damage you deal with a psionic psionics can't trip. They can't grip either, cantrip. Great. And a telepathic bolstering. When you or a creature you have a telepathic connection with fails an ability check or misses with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to expend mana. To expend number, you can expend mana up to your max energy limits to roll an equal number of energy dice, adding the highest result to the D20 test. To the result, adding the highest roll. Only the highest roll. So you can spend at 17th level, you're rolling D12s. You can spend 5 mana to roll 5 12-sided dice. You would keep the best result, throwing away the rest of them. It's high risk, high reward. After 2 points of mana, it's probably not worth it. But if you really got to roll high, more mana means more opportunities. And with 80 mana in the pocket, god damn, a telepath bard 10/10 would be super fucking cool. That would be really, really cool. Because just the amount of mana you could throw around with bardic inspiration dice and these telepathic bolsterings and effects, that would be super good. Man, that'd be super good. Adding, please. Thank you. Where are we at? 8:30. We're doing great. We're doing great. When you cast Confusion, you can expend dice, mana, to modify the spell so that the radius of the spell's sphere becomes 30 feet. Instead, let's look up Confusion real quick. Lost in a world of confusion. Caught in your own delusion. 4th level spell. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on the point you choose. 10-foot radius becomes 30 foot. Can't take bonus actions or reactions and gotta do the shuffle. Ooh. Alright. We'll leave it be. When you cast Confusion, you can expend 4 mana. For additional mana To modify the spell so that the radius of the spell sphere becomes 30 feet. In addition, creatures under the effect spell roll. In addition, creatures under the effect of the spell. In addition, yeah. 2 energy dice and compare them. Oh, hold on. Yeah, see, that doesn't... See, they have the same problem. It's broken because there is no 11 or 12 on the table. So, and if you roll a 9 or a 10, they get to choose one, right? The target chooses its own behavior. Doesn't move or take actions. The target chooses its behavior. Oh, hold on. In addition, let's see. When you cast Confusion, you can expend 4 additional mana to modify the spell so that the radius of the spell sphere becomes 30 feet. In addition, the spell is modified. 14. Well, you don't get the 12 side. You don't get the D12 until later. Hold on. Right. So, in addition, and you choose. Yeah. That actually works. In addition, the creature. The creatures under the effect of the spell roll 2 d10s to compare the results on the spell's options, which again is only on a scale of 1 to 10. And you choose which roll determines their behavior on their turns. Oh, God, that's... It's really, that's a lot of choices you're making. That's a lot of choices for a 30-foot area. There's a lot of creatures that are going to be rolling a lot of dice that you got to make a lot of decisions for. That doesn't feel practical. But one result could suck. It's you're mitigating bad news by having each of them roll separately, and that's what they do. This is during their turn, right? So right, you said her turns. Okay. No. Okay, yeah, I like this. I'm good with that. You roll 2 dice. You pick one because it's going to be each creature each turn. That's manageable. So I'm cool with that. Now let's go with feats. So that's the subclasses. Now we're going to peel. Now we're going to take a look at the feats to see if we like them or not. Yeah, we'll put it at the end. I love doing this stuff. This stuff is so fun. 1, 2, 3. I'm really looking forward to starting the Mage Tower rules. We've already started brewing them on my Discord, but I think it'll be fun writing them all out here because the whole reason I built the martial power system in the first place. It was inspired by Mage Tower because the Strixhaven Curriculum in Chaos, it describes Arcavios as a university you go to learn how to cast spells. But monks don't cast spells. Barbarians sure as fuck don't cast spells. But in the Magic the Gathering universe, they all have mana abilities. So I needed to build a magic system that marshals could use so that they could have a mana pool, so that when anyone, no matter what their character class is, when they go to that college, they don't learn spellcasting, they learn how to control their mana. And for spellcasters, that means they learn how to cast different spells. They have access to research libraries so they can change spells that they know into different colors so they can simplify their mana pool. And then martial characters can learn to channel their powers, how to make them efficient, pick up feats, blah, 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 all these things. And then the sport that's introduced in the Strixhaven card set and has its own chapter in the Curriculum of Chaos book. It's Mage Tower. It's basically Quidditch on your feet. And we're converting that into a combat game so that you can use your action economy to maneuver around, deflect, fight, throw the ball, try to score points as an attack roll, and make it a PvP match where you can kill each other. And if you drop to 0 hit points at the end of the round, at the end it's 3 periods. It's whoever gets the 3 points first wins that period, just like hockey. But at the end of 3 points, the period ends, and then there's 3 periods total, and whoever wins 2 periods, or that is to say, whoever gets the 6 points first overall, wins the game. So the game is broken up into 3 short rests, or 2 short rests. Each period has a short rest afterwards. That short rest is basically instant. It doesn't have any. It's like you could have some playtime if you're like adding it to a campaign, but basically you have a short rest between each period, and then which would be like a minute, with magical enchantment or whatever, and like catnap is like permanently cast on the place or something like that. Who knows? But anyway, the rules of the game is between each period you gain the benefits of a short rest, and so all damage is healed. So if you're killed during a period, your character is only going to be out for hopefully for a couple rounds. And if everyone's killed on one side of the team, you're automatically resurrected and you're back in the match because it's temporary damage. You're not killing them; you're just knocking them out. And if you knock them out, then okay, we'll have to look at recovery rules. But this is why we need to spend time on it, and that's on our plate to do in this design stream. Probably in about 2 weeks from now. I still want to go through and look at all the subclasses for the fighter and the rogue and stuff like that again, just to make sure they're all crisp. But that Strixhaven Mage Tower mechanics, that's soon. That's very, very soon. I'm super looking forward to it. After that, I need to build out the piety tree. I need to look at piety for all the 15 gods of Theros, and then we'll have all the technical details that we need to actually start rebuilding these books. I'm kind of excited about that. So, Sonic Feats, let's take a look at them real quick. I'm going to extract that. Like this. So what you got? What you got? This feat are in the Wild Talents category. Wild Talent. Can't have another talent. I think that's complete bullshit. I bet it'd be fine to have a Wild Talent every 4 levels that get awakened. I bet that'd be fine. Let's see how these things roll. You gain the following benefits. Lightning Jolt. Once per turn when you cast a spell or hit with an attack roll and deal bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, or psychic damage, you can change the damage type to lightning damage. Talent. You know the Shocking Grasp cantrip. You also always have the Fog Cloud spell prepared, and you can cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it that way when you finish a long rest. You can also cast it using any spell slots you have of the appropriate level. When you cast these spells, they require no verbal or material components and intelligence. Yeah, I can see you building out a character this way. You'll always have the Gust of Wind spell prepared and can cast it the same way. Wow, God, that's a lot. That's almost Ravnica level background type stuff. But I don't technically have a problem with you getting that every 4 levels. It doesn't hurt. Biokinesis, bend life energy. When a spell you cast restores hit points to a creature, you can roll 1d4 and add the number rolled to the total hit points restored. You can use this when a spell you cast. You can use this benefit a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay. Side talent. You know, spare the dying. And you also always have the healing ward spell prepare. You can cast it once without a spell slot. And of course, when it says spell slot, it means you can cast it without mana, which I'm fine with. You can also cast it using any mana you have. When you cast these spells, and healing word, I think it's 2nd level. Spare the dying is a cantrip. And when you reach level 3, you always have the Arcane Vigor spell prepared. Okay, I'm great with these things. I have no problem with you stacking these feats up. A martial character, again, with the martial power system, hold on. Martial power system. It's half. We have a number of prepared powers, right? So we start with 4, and like for a martial character, prepared powers also includes fighting, weapon mastery, like weapon masteries, and fighter initiate feats. So you don't get a fighter initiate feat, like a fighter doesn't get one, and a fighter doesn't get 3 weapon masteries. Instead, you get 4 prepared powers, which could be 3 weapon masteries and a fighter initiate, or it could be a bunch of mana shit. All of these 170 different mana powers that we have listed here. That, again, you can look at all this stuff right now if you want to. It's all built out level 1 to 20. It's a read-only document right now, but it will eventually be on the DM's Guild like everything else is. So this is just, it's not edited. It's very rough. We're still playtesting it, so take it for a grain of salt. But it works. And we've been playtesting it for months now. From levels, basically level 2 to 7, we've been testing it, and it works pretty well. I also tested it at 16th to 20th level with my home table. My playtest team on my Discord server, we've ran it from level 2 to 7. Currently, in another playtest, right now we're level 6, and we're going to go to level 10. So, and then once we get to level 10, we're going to start using Mage Tower to do PvP matches at 11th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, and 20th level. So if you're interested in that, again, like and subscribe. Be welcome to join my Discord. This is where all this stuff ends up at, and that's where we do our playtesting. If you're interested in DMing this kind of stuff, again, all these books are readily available, and I'm happy to help coach to look at the philosophies and the ideas and the procedures that I use as a DM to make this game flow, which I'm looking at adding into the DM section of these books when I revise them next year. Or later on this year, depending on when I get to them. Hold on. So there's 170 powers that require mana, anywhere from 1 to 5 mana. Strikes, reactions, exploits that modify die rolls, sustained effects, which are like non-concentration buffs that you have on yourself, kind of like aura enchantments in Magic the Gathering, same sort of idea. Meta powers, there's 67 of them. Combat masteries, you can learn these. Instead of a power, you can learn weapon masteries, and you can also learn feats. And when you learn a feat, you don't gain any ability score bonuses. But if you want to be a simple character and you don't want to mess around with your mana pool, you just want to ignore it. Great, ignore it. You can just load up on all the feats you could possibly ever freaking want and all the weapon masteries that you could possibly ever want. You also have the option of purchasing, preparing different types of damage. So at first level, these are all the types of damage that you can prepare to deal with your weapon, regardless of what type of damage that weapon would normally do. You could choose one of these, like I could choose acid and fire. So when I hit you with a sword, instead of slashing damage, I could deal acid damage, or I could deal fire damage, as I please. And then all the damage becomes acid or fire. And at 5th level, 2nd rank, at 5th level, I could pick up Force, Necrotic, Psychic, Radiant, and Thunder damage. There you go. And here's the damage types that are automatically associated like with each of the guild. Like Azorius is white and blue, so like it has a natural aptitude for cold, lightning, radiant, and psychic damage. Boros, white and red magic, has a leaning towards fire, lightning, force, and radiant, etc., etc., etc. And all that stuff is dictated by the revised color mana spell list, which we have here. It's just pay what you want, but again, the whole thing is, you can look at the whole thing right now, and this list is right here. The color mana spell point variant rules system here on the DMsGuild, they all have full preview. So here, click on the full preview. I mean, purchasing, God bless you if you want to purchase them to encourage some more behavior in the future. But I'd rather you read the rules, fall in love with it, run a game, and decide they're fun, and then purchase them later as a thank you for introducing these ideas to you, than for you to buy it and then not like it and be angry that you wasted money on a book you couldn't read. That when you did read it, you hated it. I that's not the kind of guy I am. So here's the 5 colors. Here's some general terms that kind of explain what those colors mean inside the context of the 5e game engine. And then the damage types that are in the game and what colors these types of damage are naturally devoted to. Like poison, for instance, in MTG, mostly black and green creatures. Acid, mostly black and green creatures. Fire, always red. Lightning, almost always red. Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage aren't devoted to any specific color. But that's kind of how it works. And then you see the full list down here. Using these tenets, like these aspects of magic, and these damage types, that's where we get this grid of what color each spell is devoted to. And of course, when you cast a spell, it's 1 point per level, and one of those points has to be the color. So like if you want to cast Detect Poison and Disease, you're going to cast either a black or a green spell. A black or green point of mana. One of either. But a higher level spell, like Suggestion, that's 2 mana, which 1 point has to be blue or black. And if you want to learn it in a different color, you can either research it that way so it's permanently a different color for you, or when you prepare your spells next, you could prepare Suggestion, and then you could prepare it again as like a white spell if you wanted to. So your Azorius character would then be able to cast Suggestion as a white or a blue spell, but it still exists as black as well. What is that, Abzan? Is that what white, blue, black is? Is that Abzan? I'm not good with my wedges and pies. Wedges and shards. I'm not great with those, so forgive me. All right. So anyway, that's a quick crash course. So back to it. So psionic feats. That's what we're doing. We're looking through the psionic feats. So far, these are all okay. And when it's something you can actually do like this. So the point of all of that is that you could pick up these spells as feats, and your martial characters would be able to spend their mana pool to cast these spells. So if you wanted to cheat some of these spells on, like a monk of the elements, for instance, picking up this atmokinesis feat gives these spells to your monk that could then use your mana from your monk pool to cast those spells. So, yeah. You could build a character that specifically focuses on pulling in these wild talent feats to get a stack of spells in their name. And with 6 of them available at 3rd level, you pick up pretty much all of them. And I'm okay with that, because you still have to spend the mana on it. It just gives you options. Instead of doing one thing, you're doing these things instead. Biokinesis, spend life energy. Yeah, we just looked at that one. Clairsentience. Minor foreknowledge. When you take the search action, you can give yourself advantage on any ability check made as part of that action. You can use this benefit a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Regain all of them, and then gain the guidance cantrip. And you have Detect Good and Evil spell prepared. You can cast it and then cast it again. You can always have the See Invisibility spell prepared, and you can cast it once and use it anytime that you want. Cryokinesis. Yeah, these are great. I have no problem with you picking these up as additional mana options. I think that's great. Ice Manipulation, once per turn when you cast a spell and you hit with an attack roll, you can deal bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, psychic damage. You can instead choose to deal cold damage. See, that's very much like what our Martial Strike energy damage is already that I just showed you. I really love when Wizards watches my stream and agrees I have good ideas and they start incorporating them into their builds. That makes me feel really good. So thanks a lot, guys, for being out there. I appreciate it. Ray of Frost, Cantrip, Armor of Agathis, and Ice Knife. Those are great. Impact. Emotional Sense. Take the influence action and give yourself advantage on any ability check made as part of that action. You can use this benefit a number of times, blah. As a proficiency bonus, because feats are based on proficiency bonuses because your character naturally grows in aptitude over time. But like class ability effects are stat based because your proficiency modifier increases regardless if you're in that character class or not. I like binding it to your ability, like the maximum level spell that you gained as that class. Or maximum rank, the maximum your max energy limit or your max meta magic limit for sorcerers. I like those methods better. You can always have the Charm Person spell prepared, and at 3rd level you get Calm Emotions. Okay, that's great. Flesh Morpher, Dexterity, Acrobatics, Sleight of Hand, or you gain a bonus to your Intelligence modifier. Okay. Sonic Talent, Long Strider, and Ultra Self. I'm good with that. Mind Whisperer, Magic Action. Choose one of the creatures you can see with 120 feet. You form a telepathic connection to that creature for 1 hour, and you and the chosen creature communicate telepathically with each other while within 120 feet of each other. To understand each other, you need to have mental use of a language. You must mentally use a language to know each other. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Mind Sliver, Dissonant Whispers. Okay. Side Trickster, Cunning Mind. When you make a Charisma, Deception, and Persuasion check, you may gain advantage. You gain a bonus. Weird. Bonus equal to your channeling ability modifier. I don't know why they're not giving you advantages on these. I don't know. I guess they make them different because it's a playtest. They want to see which one people like better. But the obvious answer is advantage because you generally don't want to double dip like an intelligence save or intelligence roll. But I don't feel the need to duplicate these spells and add them to the document. These are fine as is. I'll wait until they further this before I commit to them. I honestly, if they're origin feats, they say you can only learn one of them, so I can see why. Because you are getting 2 free spells and a cantrip and a die modifier. I can see why they would want to limit you to only one of them. I still don't think it's necessarily broken though, because only the marshals with their short rest mana can gain access to this stuff. I don't hate that idea. Psy Boost, take dash action, move an extra 10. Telekinetic Fling cantrip. Thunderwave spell. Okay. And Pyrokinesis. Fire damage instead. Produce flame, burning hands, scorching ray. Yeah, I'm pretty good with these. I'm not 100% that you should only be able to take one of them. I like what they do. And I get that I get it. They're giving you a flavor. I'm an empath. I'm a clairsentient. But I still feel like you should be able to unlock more of these things in the future. Most classes, like the way that it's normally built is you would only gain one every 4 levels. That certainly is not broken. It could potentially be too good with the martial powers allowing you to stack like 4 of these at first level. That would be, well, honestly, that would just be an advantage on a bunch of stuff. And like at first level, you only have 1 mana at a time. So that isn't broken. And you wouldn't be able to do 2 until 5th level. Even if you get the spell at 3rd. At 3rd level, you wouldn't even... Oh, maybe the best way to do this would be you can learn this feat multiple times, but you can only choose each day. You can only choose one psionic talent, so you can have all of the initial benefits, but when you finish a long rest, if you have multiple, choose which psionic talent you're manifesting today. I would be fine with that as a limitation. That actually makes a lot of sense. And it creates a neat dynamic that can be leaned into with future feats. It's a good precedence. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, I still don't feel the need to add the feats to the list yet. Yeah, I don't feel compelled to do that. But it's almost 9 o'clock here in Seattle. It's been about 3 hours that I've been on stream. I succeeded. I'm gonna get back tomorrow at lunchtime and doing more of this, but instead I'm going to be getting back into the fighter. We're basically just going through with a fine comb, cleaning up all the class features and subclass features, and making sure all the bonus powers are still accurate. It's just a lot of maintenance and just system updating stuff that you do when you're playtesting. But I haven't looked at them for a while, and we've playtested a lot. So there's possibilities that some of the powers that we've given them feel off or have changed, and we may have changed the balance level for different features. So it's worth going back through again and looking at all of them. We've gone through the Barbarian, we've gone through the Sorcerer, the Wizard, the Bard, the Cleric. We've just finished the Scion, for whatever that's worth, and the Bard. So we've gone through all of those. And we've gone through the Barbarian, so we still have the Fighter, the Monk, the Paladin, the Ranger, the Rogue, and we did the Artificer already, and we just recently did Warlock. So yeah, just those, the Fighter, the Monk, the Ranger, Paladin, Rogue. We still have 5 of them to go through their class features to make sure that they're solid, and then all their subclass features again to make sure the bonus powers are current and that the sensibilities of what we've given those powers in the initial playtest are still valid, or if they're at this point wrong, overclocked, undertuned. We're just going through that fixing process. So I'm going to do that tomorrow for about an hour during lunchtime next week, tomorrow, and then tomorrow morning I'll be here doing Eberron art like I do every morning, Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday we're going to continue our playtesting, running our mega dungeon. So. Hey guys, thanks a lot for being here. I really appreciate it. Like I said, all the books on my DMsGuild, they're listed down below. They all have free previews. Check them out. Join my Discord if you want. If you want to throw money at me, check out my books. If you think they're cool, buy them. You can follow me on Patreon for $1. I'll eventually be building magic cards into the system, like Boros Swiftblade or like a Golgari collector or whatever. We'll build out different character kits, like build options. Like, you want to play Golgari collector? Here's how you do it. And then we'll have multi-classes and like build suggestions, like what spells, enchant, and powers they gain at different levels and what feats to take, and really basically use that as an opportunity to build customized character builds. Like, if you really want to tweak the system and use all of these tools together, here's the cool shit you can build with it. Let's go. Like, how would you build Nightcrawler with the color mana system? Well, we're going to dip a lot into black and blue. Let's go. And let's build a Demir teleporter, right? So, like, stuff like that. Boros Swiftblade would be obviously a white and red mana, like fighter, scion, sorcerer mix, perhaps, or like a fighter, maybe a fighter warlock. Hard to say. But that's what we'll have once we have all 13, perhaps 14 character classes converted to the mana system. We can use all of that to compile unique character builds. And like, what would Liliana look like? What would what would Teneri look like? Teferi, sorry. Planeswalkers, how would you build them from level 1 to 20? Here's a build. There you go. Stuff like that. It'd be fun. And since we'll have a mechanical language in the 5e game engine to do it, you can actually use these builds in your game. Or if you wanted to play Mage Tower with us PvP style, you could try your build out and see how well it works with your team and against your opposing team. And who knows, if that catches on, maybe we can do like ranking ladders and shit like that. It'd be cool. Anyway, those are the ideas. So that's the future. Welcome to it. All right, thanks guys. I really appreciate you. I am out of here for the night. I'll see y'all in the morning. Cheers.